If you want to lose fat, build muscle, or change your body composition, but tracking calories every day fills you with dread, I don't blame you. Tracking's not for everyone, but the good news is you absolutely can hit your protein and reach your fitness goals without obsessively tracking numbers, just by following 3 simple strategies that will build on each other that have helped my own coaching clients achieve results like this in just a few months. Now, before we jump into the strategies, I've got 3 questions that you need to answer, because the way that I use these strategies will probably be different from the way that you'll use them, depending on the answers. First up, why do you want to track in the first place? Number 2, what is your main fitness goal right now? And the third one that most people miss is, how much protein do you actually need? Because eating some set amount of protein each day is not going to magically solve all your problems. I used to think it would. Hate to break it to you. You need to have some clarity on why you want to do this and how you're going to approach it. And I'm going to guide you through 3 main strategies along with these questions, but none of this is going to stick if you don't actually take the time to think about the answers to those questions for yourself. So put your answer in the comments if you want any extra tips, and let's jump in. I've been tracking calories and macros for around 3 years now to make sure that I was consistently eating enough every day to gain weight and build muscle on my own fitness journey. But also from a coaching perspective, tracking can be really useful. It gives us a lot of data when making changes to your nutrition. It builds awareness of what's actually in the foods you're eating, helps with portion sizes, and also helps a lot of people stay accountable too. But it's not the only way to see results, and for a lot of people, tracking can feel so unrealistic long term. I have coaching clients who don't want to track all the time because of their super busy schedule, kids, or even just because they find that tracking isn't helpful for their mental headspace and their relationship with food. And that is okay. When these people started using the 3 systems that I'm going to walk you through, it took them from feeling stuck and frustrated on their fitness journey to actually being able to stay consistent with their nutrition and enjoy the process a whole lot more too. Before I share each strategy, we need to figure out what is your actual goal right now, because your approach should look very different whether your goal is to gain weight and build muscle, fat loss, body recomposition, or just maintenance. If your goal is muscle gain or weight gain, you need to make sure that you're actually eating enough. I see so many girls who are trying to build muscle who massively underestimate the amount of food they actually need to eat. I was one of those girls. Whereas if your goal is fat loss, you need to build a little bit more awareness around things like portion sizes, snacking, and overall food choices. If your goal is to maintain your weight, then you've got quite a lot more flexibility because you're mainly focused on consistency and balance. And if your goal is body recomposition, which just means you're losing fat and building muscle at the same time, it's a little bit more complex to just give you one way to approach it, because different people's body composition at the start can vary massively. But essentially, we're combining the muscle gain and fat loss goals, keeping your protein high while being in a small calorie deficit. We'll get more into that. Muscle growth comes from eating enough calories, progressively overloading in the gym, eating enough protein, proper recovery, and being consistent with all of that over time. So keep your goal in mind while we go through these strategies, because certain ones will probably work better for you than others. But for any of these strategies to work, first you need to get a good baseline understanding of how many calories you need to eat each day for your goal and how much protein you need. Because just eating high protein without any idea of what your body actually needs can either leave you underfueling or stressing over hitting ridiculously high protein goals, which probably aren't necessary. What you'll often hear if you're trying to build muscle is to aim for 1 gram of protein per pound of your body weight each day. But the studies actually suggest that you can get away with eating closer to 0.6 to 0.7 grams per pound and still see most of the muscle building benefits. So for example, if you were 200 pounds and your goal was to lose fat, but then hitting 200 grams of protein each day just felt a bit unrealistic, going for 0.7 grams per pound means that you could actually aim for 140 grams of protein per day, which is really achievable for most people. I will mention that there are other advantages to eating a really high protein diet, even upwards from 1 to 2 grams of protein per pound of body weight each day, especially if your goal is body recomposition. One of the reasons being, your body burns around 20 to 30% of the total calories consumed from protein just to break it down and absorb it, whereas carbohydrates burn around 5 to 10% of their calories during digestion, and fats burn around 0 to 3% during digestion. So pretty much all of those calories can be absorbed and then used by your body. So eating a higher percentage of your total daily calories from protein means that you could actually burn more calories than if you had that made up of more carbs and fats. But in terms of muscle growth, after around 1 gram per pound, the amount of additional benefit you'll get from increasing your protein intake kind of levels off. So if your main goal is to gain weight and build muscle, it can be helpful to keep that protein at a level that's going to maximize muscle growth and then balance out the rest of your calories with carbs and fats to create a small calorie surplus, provide the main energy source for your workouts, and help with recovery and hormone regulation too. But honestly, you don't need to obsess over the numbers every day. So the first strategy to follow is a protein checklist. It's not a very long checklist, don't worry, but it's been very helpful for me. Now, number 1, include at least 1 source of protein in each of your meals. Bonus points if you get multiple sources. Number 2, aim for around 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal. Here's a helpful guide on what that amount could look like for different protein sources. And what you want to do is take your total daily protein goal you'd figured out previously, subtract 20 to 40, which will add into your snacks, and then divide the rest into the number of meals you eat per day. So for example, if 140 grams of protein was your total daily protein goal, subtracting 20 grams of protein from for snacks leaves 120. Divide that into 3 meals and you've got yourself 40 grams of protein per meal. And that's going to help you with the final point on the checklist, which is to spread your protein out evenly throughout the day. The study suggests that splitting up your total daily protein into 3 to 5 meals or snacks throughout the course of the day is helpful for keeping muscle protein synthesis more consistent, which can lead to more muscle growth over time. I know sometimes it can be confusing to know whether a certain food is actually a main source of protein or not, so here's a little list of some easy high protein foods that you could include in your diet. And if you really struggle to hit your protein goal with just whole foods, or you find yourself super busy a lot of the time, then protein shakes can actually be a game changer. Protein powder should not be your main source of protein. You want to be getting most of your protein from whole foods, but it can be such a convenient supplement, especially if you struggle to eat enough. Not because protein shakes or protein smoothies are going to magically make you gain weight in all the right places. Yeah, I've seen the TikToks too. But because they make protein convenient. If you're trying to gain weight and build muscle, here's a few recipes from my coaching app that my clients have been enjoying recently too. And if you do want more help on your fitness journey, whatever your goal, I do actually have more one-to-one online coaching spaces available, and you can apply for those in the description. The second strategy is probably not one that you expected me to say, but it is to track your calories for 1 to 2 weeks. Not forever, not obsessively, just temporarily as a learning tool. Because most people genuinely have no idea how much protein they're eating, what is actually in the food they're eating, or even what enough food looks like for their goal. So what you're going to do is you're going to go online, type in calorie calculator, click on the first one that pops up, or I'll put a link in the description actually. Then you're going to type in all your details, so it'll ask for your age, your height, your current weight. Type all that in and it will spit you out an estimate for the number of calories you need to eat to maintain your current weight. You're going to take that number, eat at that number of calories for 1 to 2 weeks, and track your weight to see if it changes. If it doesn't change, that's great. Those are your true maintenance calories. If your weight decreases after 1 to 2 weeks, it means your true maintenance is actually higher than the number it gave you. And if your weight increases after 1 to 2 weeks, it means that your true maintenance is actually lower than the number it gave you. But over this really short period of tracking, it can help you learn about portion sizes, how to structure your meals, which foods are good sources of protein, and roughly how much food your body needs to maintain your weight. And after those 1 to 2 weeks are up, you can stop tracking and rely on the knowledge that you've gained instead. I actually started learning to drive recently, and it's kind of like that. You need the guidance initially for a little bit, but eventually you pick up the skills and you stop needing to think about every little thing. From that point, if your goal is to gain weight and build muscle, all you need to do is add in an additional 200 to 300 calorie snack, or make some easy swaps like switching low fat dairy to full fat dairy, or cooking with oil instead of air frying, things like that. If your goal is to lose weight, then here's some swaps you can try. The third strategy is one of the best things you can do if you hate tracking, and that is to create a rough meal plan template. Because if you already know roughly what your meal contains, then you don't have to go calculating everything every single day. For example, if your total daily calorie goal was 2,000 calories, you might have protein oats for breakfast before you work out, chicken wraps for lunch, a yogurt bowl as a snack, homemade ramen for dinner, chocolate mousse as a dessert. And if you know those meals are balanced and high in protein, then there's no need to track. This is what a lot of the people who easily stay healthy do without realizing. They have similar meals on repeat, not because they're boring, although some people may see it like that, but because having that routine makes nutrition so much easier. You can still swap foods around obviously, but having a basic structure like that removes a lot of the decision fatigue, which is often what stands in the way and leads to people making poorer food choices and then falling off track. However, I know there's a few of you who just cringed at the thought of eating the same meal 2 weeks in a row, so I've got a bonus strategy for you, which is what I like to call modular meal prep. It's super simple and basically just means preparing your protein sources, carbs and fats separately, so you can quickly build meals throughout the week, kind of like building Lego. So for example, you prep chicken, beef, rice, potatoes, pasta, chopped veg, sauces, avocado. Then instead of eating identical meal prep every day, you can mix and match meals depending on what you feel like. Switch up the spices, switch up the way you cook things. You could roast some of your protein sources and veggies in the oven and air fry or pan fry others for some variety. This works so well because the biggest time investment is just that initial time spent cooking. Then the rest of the week, you can really just mix and match what you feel like having that day. It saves time, makes getting your protein easier, and also gives you flexibility, which can help a lot of people find it way easier to stay consistent for the long term. But this is important. How do we know if it's working? So if you're not tracking calories, we need some other form of feedback, right? And if you don't want to track your body weight either, that's not the end of the world. We can still work with that. The things you want to pay attention to are things like your progress photos, your performance in the gym. Are you able to lift heavier from week to week? How are your energy levels? How's your sleep? How are you feeling in your clothes? How's your confidence doing? Aside from the scale weight, all of those are going to be really good indicators that what you're doing is taking you in the right direction. And also remember, your body's not going to change overnight. It's going to take weeks, if not months or years, to see substantial progress. And that's all part of the journey. As cheesy as it is, you need to learn to enjoy the process. Because the people who go for quick fixes usually end up back to square one, if not further back than they were when they started, because they've not taken the time to build those foundational healthy habits that are going to carry them through to get sustainable results and sustainable health and longevity in the long term of their entire fitness journey and their life. One of the biggest reasons reasons that people struggle with their diet and either undereat or overdo it on snacks is because of convenience. Like after a long day of work, if you come in and there's no healthy options ready that align with your goals, let's be honest, you're much more likely to grab a quick snack or just skip the meal entirely. I mean, I was someone who used to do both. But at the end of the day, fitness should improve your life, not consume it. And while tracking is really helpful for some people, myself included, you absolutely do not need to obsess over the numbers to build a strong, healthy body and reach your goals. The best nutrition plan is the one that aligns with your goals, one that you actually enjoy, and that always starts with a breakfast you're going to look forward to. You need a breakfast that's going to keep your energy stable and set you up in the best way for the day ahead, so make sure you watch this video next, where I share some quick and easy high protein breakfast recipes to help you do just that, even on your busiest mornings. Love you so much, subscribe, and I'll see you there. Bye!